IoT-driven innovation empowers industrial enterprise to solve the new, complex challenges of a changing global marketplace. Executed well, the right solution can turn the promise of industrial IoT into a powerful reality. PTC's ThingWorx brings together the functionality, flexibility, and scalability you need to meet the pace and demands of the ever-changing digital world. Recognized by experts for its ability to drive industrial innovation, ThingWorx is revolutionizing the way companies solve the complex challenges of today as they build for tomorrow.
Welcome to the live stream. My name is Kathleen Mitford, Executive Vice President of Products at PTC. Digital transformation. It is no longer an option, but it's an imperative in order for companies to not only thrive, but to succeed in today's changing business environment. Digital transformation is changing our products. They are now smart and connected. They're changing our processes, from engineering to manufacturing to operations and to servicing these products. And because of all the data that we have from smart connected products, it's changing the way that we as people not only work, but the way that we interact with products. A key technology enabling digital transformation is industrial IoT. Today, I am joined by industry leaders from Carlsberg Group, Celli Group, and Microsoft, and you will learn how industrial IoT is transforming industries. You will learn how PTC and Microsoft are working together to provide industrial IoT solutions from ThingWorx, fully integrated with Microsoft Azure IoT for enterprise scale and security. Many of us like to enjoy a cold beer at the end of the day, but have you ever thought about the complexity of going from a single grain to that glass? Today, we're going to learn how IoT is transforming the beverage industry. First, I'd like to introduce Carlsberg Group. Let's take a look.
In the Carlsberg Group, we share a common purpose. We might not think about it every day, but looking closer, it is the essence of everything we do, and has been since 1847. We still pursue perfection. We strive to always improve and brew excellent beers. Beers and brands that excite our consumers and are at the heart of moments that bring people together. We make brewing more sustainable and fund science around the world to find better solutions to climate and water. We are brewing for a better today and tomorrow.
I'd like to welcome Victor Gluhov, Group MES and Automation Senior Manager of Carlsberg Group. Victor, thank you for joining us today.
Happy to be here.
Victor, can you tell us a little bit more about Carlsberg Group?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, actually, I can talk hours about Carlsberg, but we have a limited time of the live stream. So all started in 1847 when our founder, G.C. Jacobsen, very passionate man, and his passion was beer. So in that century, the beer was not a product which was easy to make, and there was no good beer in Denmark, where G.C. Jacobsen is coming from, where he was born. So he decided, okay, I make the best beer, right? So that was his goal, and he founded the brewery just outside of Copenhagen, on the small hill in the small town or village called Valby. And he called the brewery under his son, Carl. So that's why it got in the name of Carlsberg, which is Carl for his son, and Berg as this small mountain or hill in the suburbs of Copenhagen. And as I said, because he was passionate, he was so enthusiastic about the beer, it actually worked out. So the brewery became the most popular in the area, so there was a huge demand there. then he decided, okay, I established a laboratory, Carlsberg laboratory, where we will do more. We will even improve even more the process of brewing beer. So, and that unfortunately not very wide known facts that the purification of yeast was developed in the Carlsberg laboratory, which is currently the yeast used by probably around 90% of all beers brewed around the world. So that's why we call him the father of the quality lager beers. There was a pH scale. I don't know if you know that, Kathleen.
No,
pH scale was developed in Carlsberg laboratory by Professor Christian Hansen. Then in the last century, in the 90s, 1960s to 2000, it was a development of the brewery group. So, and then from late 1990s till 2008, there was a period of big growth. So let's have a look what Carlsberg is today in numbers. So these are the numbers from 2018, the year we closed already. We're in 19 still, so there's no actuals announced until we reach the year end. The amount of beer we have brewed is 12 billion liters globally. And we reach the 100 markets around the world. So we produce and sell in those markets. We have around 100 production sites globally. And we have 40,000 passionate people.
Like you?
Like me.
Yeah.
So not only J.C. Jacobsen and his team, but way more people working with the same passion. I didn't tell it on the previous slide, but we have launched probably the most ambitious sustainability program in the industry, which we call Together Towards Zero. And that program includes several elements, such as CO2 emissions, such as the focus on responsible drinking, on health and safety, as well as water consumption, because no water, no beer, but then of course it should be just to the amount you need to consume. And I just wanted to show one example that we don't only say, but we walk the talk. So this is one innovation from last year, which is industrialized, so it's launched already in the several markets. And this is we call it Snap Pack. So that's the way to put the cans together and not wrapping them into the plastic, but instead we're gluing them together with the environmental friendly glue that it sticks, but it doesn't harm the nature. And as you see the number, as soon as that will be rolled out globally, we'll be able to save around 1,200 tons of plastic annually.
Wow, that's really great, Victor. That's a great innovation that the Carlsberg Group has done with sustainability. Now, the company's been around since 1847, and you've seen good growth since 1847. And in order to do that, the company, I know, is probably transformed. So can you talk a little bit about digital transformation and what digital transformation means to Carlsberg Group?
Yes. In our, we call it SAIL 2022, in our strategic priorities, step change in digital is one of them. And obviously, in our world now, there are many things which are changing, and digital is driving that change as well. So there are different consumer demands, there are different channels to approach the consumers, and we of course need to react on that. So we are doing a lot of innovations in e-commerce, in the way we deal with our consumers and customers, but we also, not least important, focusing on our supply chain, where digital helps us to look into the things differently and sometimes even make a leapfrog in the way we operate.
In the way you operate. And I know that you are using PTC's ThingWorx to help you in your operations. Can you share with us a little bit about how you're using ThingWorx?
Yes. So the business challenge was, and we always start with the business challenge. Right. This is not a digital story. This is where digital helps to overcome some of the business challenges. So in the beer production, there is a phase which we call brewing and processing, where it starts from the raw material and then up to we call it bright beer tank. So the moment where the beer is ready to be filled in the cans, in the bottles, kegs, or any other packaging we would like to fill it in. And then when it comes to packaging, due to the fact that we have grown very fast, so Carlsberg is a relatively young company as a global FMCG player, even though we are number 3, I forgot to mention that. In the packaging area, we were not very consistent in the performance. So we launched what we call Carlsberg Excellence Program, and that is a people-driven program to improve the uptime, the efficiency of our packaging areas. But then the challenge was that in some of the breweries, we didn't have a transparency on what the actual performance is. So how we say internally, if you cannot measure, you cannot improve. So idea was that we will implement the system which will help us to track the performance at the right time for the right people with the right user interface.
To give you the right visibility.
Give you that right visibility to make the right decision to improve your packaging line performance. So we can have a look.
Oh, that would be great.
So the solution at the moment is deployed to 17 breweries around the world. So this screen.
So these are all the different breweries that have deployed this solution.
You see the first 2 letters is the country like Azerbaijan, Bulgaria, Estonia, etc. We have 2 instances at the moment, just to load the balance, IT speaking. So this instance is hosted in Azure cloud in Europe. So let's drill down to one of the sites. So now we are in Serbia, and imagine this screen shown to a plant manager or packaging manager of the site in Serbia called Čelareva. And when I look at this, what do I see? I see the process orders, production orders, which are produced at every line. So these bars here representing the equipment over the packaging lines. So glass line, bottle line, and the PET line at the bottom, which is not producing, as you can see. And then I see that basically these 2 lines, the line L2 and L3, they have a pretty decent OE, overall equipment efficiency, like 93 and 94%. But then I see that my first line is not doing great today.
The one at 52%?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
So I want to drill down.
Okay.
So I want to see what happened today, and I see the OE trend. So I see what was it looking, how it was developing over the day. So I see that, there was a peak, like we reached 60, but then we went down. So something happened, right? So there was a breakdown of the equipment. I better have a look. So then I can either call my line leader, or I can open the next page, like the line overview, and see what exactly happened in these 2 lines. And then I see the downtimes with their, we call it raw reasons, like why the downtime has happened. So I see all different things like starvations, build bags.
And starvation, no liquid is going to the can or the bottle.
So I know that there was no liquid or the machine before the filling machine has stopped. So I have this all information coming to the system, and that gives me a great transparency of what's going on here, that I can make the decisions to improve. So this is another example, like we are going down to the one specific keg filler. So this is another line, again, same view. So that's what.
So without having to go to the actual equipment, you can go look in the ThingWorks dashboards here, see what's happening, and make decisions as to what you need to do.
Yes, and what is fascinating, I'm still getting fascinated about that there is nothing installed on site. So in this case, in Serbia, we have a small H box which is sending the data up to the cloud. It was pretty amazing how fast and how easy we could have deployed it.
That's great. So thank you, Victor, so much for sharing this story with us. And you just showed us the showed us the innovations that you're doing and how you're able to improve your packaging line uptime. We began this session talking about going from grain to glass. So here we just saw how we got from grain to distribution. So now what I'd like to do is focus on distributor to consumer. I would like to introduce Shelly Group, a leader in beverage drinking dispensing systems. Let's take a look.
We are a global player in beverage dispensing, a group with over 40 years of experience, world-class resources and capabilities, a long-established global footprint, and a consolidated worldwide network. The ideal partner for today's global beverage brands. We design, engineer, and manufacture innovative dispensing equipment for beer, soft drinks, water, and any other beverage that can benefit from draft superiority. Our philosophy, based on innovation, quality, design, and environmental sustainability, makes us a valuable partner in co-engineering and advancing innovative projects, and in strengthening your brand.
I'd like to welcome Paulo Cavil, Group Commercial Director at Shelly Group. Welcome, Paulo. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much for hosting me.
Thank you. Can you tell us a little bit about Shelly Group?
Yeah, everything started in 1974 when our founder, Mr. Goffredo Celli, was in his teenage. He was serving a lot of customers coming from the German market or from Germany to the coast, the eastern coast of Italy. And they basically were not finding what they loved the most, so their draft beer. So he was very passionate about that, and with his brother then he spent time and understanding how to build dispensing system for draft beer. And this is where everything started. Then along the time he's been developing and growing the company up to 2013 when he decided to basically sell part of the company. And we got our new CEO joining the company, so Mauro Gallavotti still is the CEO, and start transforming the business, bringing managers, and really expanding the business throughout growth, organic growth, and acquisitions. And right now we are headquartered in Italy, and we have our plants both in Italy and in the UK, and then commercial offices around the globe to better serve our customers. So this is where everything started, and we are in the drinking dispensing industries, as we saw for beer, water, and soft drinks.
Okay, that's great, Paulo. Paulo, you mentioned transformation, and here we're talking about digital transformation today. Can you share what digital transformation Shelly has gone through, or what digital transformation means to the Shelly Group?
Part of the vision is really about not focusing on just digitalizing or transforming Shelly itself, but what is really the ambition is supporting our customers and therefore the industry transforming. So this is our vision, this is our purpose, and this is what we've been working on since 3 years now. So we are definitely moving into an evolution of the market, better enabling our customers and really focusing on what is their main business, while we think about how we develop the best solutions possible, the best service possible to really help them, is what we like to call the cloud of draft, actually.
So the cloud of draft, so not only digitally transforming Shelly Group, but also transforming your interactions with the customers that you engage with and helping them transform their business.
That's absolutely correct. So we have been evolving and modifying our value proposition to customer, listening to them, thinking about what are really their needs, which easily we can say is like increasing sales and reducing costs, but it's really about how do I drive a superior drinking experience, how to position my brand in the best way possible to the market. I do make an efficient asset management. So building on this framework, we have been really redesigning even the way we are structured as a company and as a group.
That's great, Paulo. So Paulo, I know that you use ThingWorx to help you with your digital transformation. Can you share with our audience how the Shelly Group is using ThingWorx?
Yeah, we have built IntelliDraft on the ThingWorx platform. We have seen since the beginning that this will give us the flexibility of building up a platform that is scalable and that is easy to integrate and develop further. Because as I said, this is a journey. So we're developing day after day our platform integrated with different modules. So ThingWorx gave us that flexibility that we were absolutely looking for.
Okay, that's great. And I know that you're using ThingWorx, but Shelly Group is a longtime PTC customer where you also use our CAD system, Creo, and our PLM system, Windchill, to help design those products as well. Is that?
Very, very true. So the engineering team has been always using from CAD, so with Creo, the PLM, so all the PTC solutions. And actually, this made it even simpler to adopt and work closer with PTC and partners at the beginning, PTC directly afterwards, really to make sure that we streamline all the internal processes from engineering to market. And that's so we found pretty natural even to expand this even further with ThingWorx.
So it sounds like what you've done is really created the digital thread going across your whole entire process to really create that closed loop.
Correct. And this is something that actually we can even look a little bit deeper in this. But this is really constantly helping us in designing, realizing, and making available our solutions to our customers.
That's great, Paulo. Well, Paulo, we're here at PTC's corporate headquarters, and I know up on our 17th floor in our Customer Experience Center, we actually have the Shelly Beverage system working. So should we take a look?
It is indeed, and has been a pleasure. So what we see usually as consumer, this is the scene we see, right? A bartender pouring our beer.
Right.
It's difficult to think, or doesn't come natural to think about from a single pouring the quantity of data that actually we can have access to. And this is what we start seeing there, what we see with IntelliDraft. And this is what we're giving back to our customers, not just having access to data, but how can we transform data along the chain to support an instrument to business decisions.
So it's another value-added service that you're offering to your customers because of the data that you're getting from ThingWorx.
Absolutely. We're making our customers their data available to regain a little bit of control, because usually what our customers, the beverage companies have, they have all the information on the sell-in to the distribution channel, but what they're missing is the last mile, so the sell-out information. If we look at these, we then start gaining this information. Starting like drilling a little bit down, this is one of the dashboards you can have access to. You see where your assets are physically based out. Then you can drill down and actually looking at how these chillers or the equipment are performing actually. So you can look at the patterns as well of the behavior of the chiller. So one of the value, once this is visible to the service team, is that really about, can I anticipate any kind of issues? Can I see if there is anything that is not working as it should, so I can take actions before the issues arise?
Preventative maintenance on these particular chillers?
That's absolutely correct. And this is something that both our customer service team or the Shelly service team division is taking advantage of. Really not waiting the issues to appear, but really taking actions to prevent this to happen.
That's great.
And we can go even further. If we look at the way we can efficiently manage the assets, or our customers can do so, is really about setting out parameters and alarms. Actually, then I can monitor what is happening to my assets, and I can have the system triggering actions immediately when something is not working as it should. Mm-hmm. And then we can have all the history about the equipment, and we can drill down and knowing exactly with the characteristic of that equipment, and therefore we can take action knowing what we have to do, when that was served, or so on and so forth. So again, an easy and straightforward access in real time to this information. Actually, we can even move further down, because when we think about IntelliDraft as a solution, it's not just for technicians, it can help our customers in all the different aspects and in all different teams. So we saw the technical team, but this is more looking at the quality. So one of the things that is important to our customers is when you move from a bottle or can to draft, you really engaging and you're really delivering the quality through the perfect serve of the beer. So you are delegating someone else to track your quality. So from a central point of view, as a brewery or as a beverage company, I want to be sure that everywhere you go, or we go as consumers, we drink that beer and we live the same experience.
Same experience, right? Same level of quality.
Exactly. So I can even come out with a quality index that in this case for our customers is made by 4 key parameters. It's really the beer temperature when it's served, the sanitation interval, making sure that the system is clean and perfect served all the time, the keg opening days, that means how many, from how long that specific keg has been open for, and what is the temperature that keg is exposed to. So if I control those parameters, then I'm sure that the kind of experience is being offered to our consumer is perfect, and that is critical to our customer.
So Paulo, this view would be something that the bartender or the bar manager would see to make sure?
It really depends on what our customers want, because clearly you can use different parameters to give access to this information to the different
The customer
teams.
determines the security.
Exactly, absolutely. So we use all the security characteristic embedded in the systems to really delegate the visual and the access to the dashboard to the people that the consumer wants. So in this case, could be really more about the brewery itself, or the team working on quality. While we can look into the next slide, we can look at this is basically a vision that you can offer to the bartender, because then you have the quantity of beer that is still in the kegs. But this is important for supply chain as well. So what if you have a supply chain working with the distributors? Because then you can combine the information you have from the point of sales in terms of availability of beer in the kegs, as well as the stock availability. So you can even predict the consumption and anticipate the supply chain to make sure that the point of sales will never run out of beer.
So you always have the right amount of beer.
Exactly, which for the point of sales and for the consumers is critical, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I would maybe see the last examples. In this case, even if it's very small or difficult to see, but basically we have the volumes, and we have the volumes per brand being poured in that specific point of sales. So total, or I can drill down. And that's, again, is important as an information for the sellers, yes, but can even be more important, both for the brewery and the point of sales.
So this is really interesting, Paulo. It seems like the transformation that you've gone through using industrial IoT has not only allowed you to transform Shelly Group, you're providing different types of products. Your products are now smart and connected. You're providing additional value-added services to your customers. So I'm sure it's allowing your business to grow, but it's also helping your customers increase their sales as well.
That's absolutely the point. So if we think about the brand distribution, one thing we did with our customers, we clusterized some of the pubs and restaurants in a specific geographical area in Milan. And basically we figured out that the brands were distributed not exactly in the best way possible, because there might be some beers that were heavier in pubs or bars more for happy hours than for dinner or for after dinner. So what we work with on the data, we work with our customers, and we suggested them, why don't you change the brand distributions? And that was really showing up after 3 weeks, an uptake in sales of 15%. Extremely beneficial for the brewery, but for the point of sales as well. On our side, clearly, changing the value proposition, changing the way we partner with our customers is really impacting the way that is impacting our turnover as well. So we have the new division that is the asset management division, where we do service and digital solution combined, that is growing continuously every year and in a meaningful way. So it's a big contribution, and this is one of the pillars for our growth of the group for the coming years.
It's really great to hear you say that, Paulo, because one of the best parts of my job is seeing the value that we deliver to customers. So really like hearing you say that. And you talked about your customers. Now, I know that Shelly Group and Carlsberg Group work together. Paulo, can you describe a little bit the relationship between the two companies?
Yeah, I think it's even a good example about the transformation we're seeing. So we've been providing our equipment, taps, phones to Carlsberg since years now. Now we're seeing more and more our relationships strengthening in terms of, in some countries we're providing our service, some maintenance services, and even leveraging the digital solution as we saw to really to offer a better service to Carlsberg. So this is definitely one of the things that we're seeing growing more and more from branding perspective to efficient asset management.
Okay, that's great. Now, you showed us both great examples of how Carlsberg is transforming, of how Shelly Group is transforming. How would you say what impact would you say digital transformation is having on the beverage industry? So Paulo, maybe we'll start with you. Are you seeing the beverage industry transforming because of digital transformation?
It is indeed. And a lot of this transformation is customer driven, it's consumer driven. So consumers are now looking more and more at their customized drink. They want to find their favorite drink everywhere. So even in terms of evolving point of consumption, it's not necessarily the bar, the pub any longer, but could be everywhere. Could be the airport, it could be a train station, it could be the university, it could be the gym, it could be the office. So it's really about having the customized and personalized drink whenever you want, wherever you want. And plus, us as consumers, we're becoming more and more IT savvy. So it's easier for us now to use the technology and to use digital to really enjoy what we want to do. So we're seeing these more and more in the industry. We're seeing our customers, the beverage companies, very sensitive to these, and they are redesigning their go-to-market. They're redesigning their marketing strategy, and we are enabling them with different technologies, with innovative equipment to make sure that we bridge the gap and we make it easier for consumer and the beverage companies to really be in touch and offering this drinking experience in the best way possible.
Because you mentioned it's really not just about the beverage anymore. It's about the entire experience and kind of the setting where I'm actually drinking that beverage, which food I'm pairing with it, what type of environment I'm in.
Absolutely, very true. A lot of our customers are really focusing on it is the move from product to the end user experience and to the overall experience. This is very true.
Good. Victor, how about you? What transformation are you seeing in the beverage industry?
Yeah, I think what Paulo just said is very true, and obviously we also focus on our beloved consumers and customers, where I mentioned already the e-commerce and customer experience, where a lot of our digital efforts are streamlined. But then let's not forget about supply chain, which I'm heavily serving in my function. And obviously we cannot just stay with the commercial side of the business if the supply chain will not be adaptive to that. So how we like to say in Carlsberg, so we are the team playing football, if you want, and there are people who are making scores, such as our sales representatives in the countries, the marketing people, etc. And then in supply chain, we are the middle fielders. So we need to support, we need to pass the ball that the score is actually made and our consumers are enjoying their favorite brand in whatever country. Then supply chain should be as flexible as the demand, as the sales, and as the customer experience. So that's why the transformation of supply chain is now heavily dependent, if you want, on the digital. So, and we are looking, one example I gave you just minutes ago, we are looking into some use cases where digital can help us to leapfrog. And that was about production, but we look at end-to-end supply chain. So we're looking into forecast of the demand to not to compromise the availability of the product, but on the other hand, not to create unnecessary stock. So that's also very important. We are looking into the predictions of equipment breakdowns. So I guess that's the overall trend around the world. And just to give you one, I like this example, one of our colleagues recently said that, let's say 20 years ago, people were saying that I'm coming to my office and I have all the latest technology in it. I have computers, I have phones, I have everything. And then over time, basically, the development of digital at homes, let's say, the normal life, actually has overtaken the development of digital in production sites. So now it's the opposite. You come to your...
you have the latest technology at home and you expect that when you come to work each day.
Correct. So that's another, I would say, trend that with the millenniums, with all the trends, which again we hear all around from different consultancy and we also observe it ourselves, we need to provide new ways of working to our shop floor colleagues. I think that's very clear.
It's really interesting how digital transformation is impacting the beverage industry and how you think about what business you're in and how you interact with different parts of the value chain, but then also the transformation that's happening in your own business. Like you say, that there's different expectations from the workers on the shop floor.
Yes.
That's great. So can we bring this back to the consumer? So as a consumer, I don't think about technology when I'm about to have a glass of beer. So Paulo, maybe you can share how technology is having an impact on the end consumer.
Yeah, this is something that we can even see now in a video, but actually think about what if, when I'm coming in and into a pub and I see a lot of phones, what if I can play with my mobile, having some information, like capturing the information, like the beer that I'm about to drink, where is it coming from, all the different characteristics, and actually having maybe some food pairing suggestions. So I can take my decision on that, and I can actually vote about my experience, the quality of the beer, the temperature of the beer, the quality of the foaming, the overall bartender skills, the environment, so I can vote and socialize. So as an individual, I have a better service, a little bit of fun, but I enhance my overall experience, and I actually can share it in real time. So that's just an example on how we've been leveraging actually Vuforia View to make it easy for every one of us to use it. And again, this is just an example that you can have. We can have many others.
No, that's great. So that's an example of not only using industrial IoT, but also using augmented reality to improve that experience for the end consumer.
That's correct.
That's great. So thank you, Victor and Paulo. Those were really great examples of how your companies are transforming. And we also learned about how, in order to provide that great experience to the end customer, it takes a whole ecosystem.
It does.
We see the same thing in technology. At PTC, it's not only PTC's technology, but it's our entire partner ecosystem that helps us with that as well. And one of our key strategic partners is Microsoft. So what I'd like to do now is to turn it over to Sam George, Corporate Vice President at Microsoft, who runs their Azure IoT business, and PTC's Chief Technology Officer, Joe Byron. They're joining us from the Microsoft headquarters out in Redmond. Morning, guys.
Good morning, Kathleen. And good morning, Sam. Great to see you again.
Good morning, Joe.
Well, we just heard from a couple of our joint customers, Carlsberg and Celli,
Yes.
that really represent a great example of two customers that are undergoing a digital transformation initiative within their respective companies. What are your perspectives on those kinds of initiatives that you've been seeing in our customer base?
Yeah, the great thing about it is that, you know, these technologies and techniques of connecting the digital and the physical world are now well understood and really well accepted by many of the businesses that are out there. And we're seeing a sort of a new type of customer over the last couple years that are coming to these solutions. And instead of sort of dabbling and seeing what it can do for them, they're coming with a full business plan,
Right.
with clear return on investment that they're hoping to achieve. And so they're bringing a discipline that wasn't present many years ago. And so this digital transformation, I think, is really starting to accelerate. And it's been great to see, in partnership with you, bringing technologies like ThingWorx and all of the solutions that you build, which help customers with that full digital thread.
Right.
It goes all the way from PLM and design all the way through monitoring, that full loop.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it's been great to see, and the partnership's just been wonderful.
Well, thank you for that, Sam. And I agree, like in several years past, we saw early adopters of industrial IoT doing some experiments and others with very targeted use cases that had very clear ROI, even early on.
Yeah.
And that's great. And I think of these digital transformation initiatives as taking the best learnings from the experimentation, the best learnings from the real ROI producing initiatives, and wrapping that in a programmatic effort that's driven by reference architectures from the technology side, repeatable business scenarios from the business and go-to-market side.
Yeah.
And we're excited to work with Microsoft because it lets us focus on those repeatable solution patterns, and we are able to lean on the best-in-breed technology from Azure IoT.
Yeah.
And I know that we don't do those things in silos. So
Absolutely.
what are some of the initiatives that are giving you the most excitement where our worlds are currently converged?
Yeah, I'd say, well, first, what we've been focused on the last couple of years is building out those hyperscale cloud services that enable partners like you to get to market faster. Building those out in more regions worldwide with enterprise-grade security and privacy and scale. And then partnering at the engineering level, at the field level, at the marketing level, so that we can approach joint customers and get them through their digital transformations faster.
Excellent. Yeah. So a quick example of solution category for a product OEM.
Yeah.
How do I manage the hundreds of thousands or millions of versions of my product that are in the field and used by my customers with various firmware levels, configurations, calibration profiles, and content that I need to manage remotely? Well, the workflows around how a product OEM would do that, that's something that PTC knows very well, born from many years of experience with those customers. And the communication infrastructure, how to do that at scale, hyperscale, as you call it, hypersecurity. I'm very excited that with ThingWorx 8.5, we've cracked the code, so to speak, in bringing our PTC solutions for software content management through ThingWorx connected to IoT Hub and IoT Edge.
Yep, absolutely. And it's been great. It's been great to have the close partnership over the years, and we're so excited about your ThingWorx 8.5 release. And thank you so much for the partnership.
Well, thank you very much, Sam.
All right, great.
Back to you, Kathleen.
Thank you, Sam and Joe. Paulo and Victor, I know that both of your companies are not only partners with PTC, but also partners with Microsoft as well. So Victor, maybe we can start with you. Can you share a little bit about how you use PTC and Microsoft technology together?
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, on a general note, our IT strategy, and we call it Next, and there is different steps in this Next. One of the steps was to migrate every on-premises server we have in Carlsberg to the cloud, to Azure cloud. And that was a great success. I guess there was a lot of advertisement about that as well. There was a world record, I think, in migration to the cloud achieved in Carlsberg. Now, myself, working in the production environment, so to say, I'm an old conservative fox, thinking, okay, would cloud really work for...
A little skeptical at first?
Definitely skeptical. And you know how it was. I mean, we all are from that industry. And the skepticism of using industrial IoT in production area was always there. So when we started to look, okay, there should be something in it, right? So the solution I have shown you in the beginning of the live stream, we were thinking, okay, if we do it on premises still, as we did it the last 20, 30 years, that's fine. I mean, it's going to work, we know. But what if we try the cloud? What if the cloud-based solution can bring us more agility, more flexibility, and we can extend it as much as we can? So the diagram you see on the screen, and I don't know if it's now shown on the live stream, so that's roughly how the solution looks like. So in every brewery, we only put, as I said, on the Serbia example, a small H box, which is connected to all the equipment, and then it's all streamed to Azure-hosted instance of the ThingWorx application. That works pretty well. Again, I was skeptical. But yeah, no one would notice that this is a cloud-based solution if you don't know. And that, as I keep repeating, gave us a lot of flexibility, a lot of speed to deploy the solution. It made it very cost efficient. And the last but not least is it allows us now to extend it as much as we can. One thing which is already shown here on the left, we are using Azure SQL, Microsoft SQL data warehouse to build our group level, global, production BI. So where all the data from our production tracking systems, MES systems, is collected and then our users via Power BI front end can access that anywhere in the world using their mobile devices, etc. And we are making it to other digital extensions, digital add-ons. For example, we are starting to experiment with artificial intelligence, with predictive engines, and we will do more. So that's kind of a joint advantage of having both vendors together.
PTC and Microsoft. That's great, Victor. And it sounds like having the combination of PTC and Microsoft, you're able to scale very quickly. So you're able to add new factories quickly. And then in addition to that, we know that your business is changing, but as you need to make modifications, release new use cases, you can do that to all of your factories very quickly.
Yes, yes. And availability is also important. You know, when we deploy the solution on premises, you always have redundant servers, all that IT stuff, which is expensive, first of all. Second of all, the problem is always with the last mile. Like if your connection from the factory, or let's say from the machine to that server breaks, but then cloud is much more available. So if Azure goes down, that will be in the old newspapers around the world.
Right. The hyperscale availability that Sam was talking about. Great. Paulo, how about you? How do you work with PTC and Microsoft together?
Let me echo what Victor said. At the beginning, when we started our digital journey in our industry, there was a lot of skepticism. Therefore, we found with PTC, you were really side by side with us since the inception, supporting us. Therefore, to us was being enabled to really prepare something and drive our story, enforcing the storytelling, and actually talking to our customers, presenting the platform, really proving the point all the time. So with PTC is a long-standing partnership. When we got the news about the partnership with Microsoft, actually it was even stronger, the message. Why? Because as Sam said, it's really about making sure that we can accelerate, we can move forward to our proposal, the go-to-market, work with our customers that are getting used to work with Azure, and therefore giving them the peace of mind that the platform is built and actually managed on the cloud, and basically even on their own instances of Azure, made our conversation a little bit easier. So on that side, giving the confidence, having two players like PTC and Microsoft and our solution built on them and with them is definitely super important to our customers. As well as in transforming the company, clearly, as we said, we're using PTC end-to-end solutions. We are embracing more and more Microsoft solution, and we're bridging the gap as well. So what we are internally using, like Office 365 or Dynamics 365 of BI, is really something that then we are leveraging even in the way we offer services to our customers on the IntelliDraft and therefore on the ThingWorks. So again, time to market, peace of mind, accelerating the business. This is what is really meaning to us, this big partnership between you and Microsoft.
Well, that's good for both of you to hear both of you talking about accelerating time to value, because when we entered into this partnership with Microsoft, that is really what it was all about. How can PTC and Microsoft jointly help our customers get to value quickly? You know, my team, Joe, is out at Redmond. We spend a lot of time with Sam's team up front in engineering and figuring out the best way of our solutions to work together so that you don't have to figure it out while you're doing your deployments.
And this is great. And this is visible and on a daily basis, actually.
Great. Good. Well, our goal today, was to share with our audience how industrial IoT is helping customers on their digital transformation journey. We showed you great examples of how the beverage industry is transforming from both the Carlsberg Group story and the Shelly Group story as well. Our goal also was to share with you how PTC and Microsoft are working together to help customers get to value faster. So hopefully you enjoyed today's webcast and were able to see how the digital transformation is impacting the beverage industry. If you'd like to learn a little bit more about ThingWorx 8.5, our latest release, which is coming out the end of this month, we invite you to join us to a ThingWorx 8.5 webcast on September 26th that will be hosted by Joe Byron. So I would like to thank Carlsberg and Celli Group. I'd like to thank Victor and Paulo. Thank you so much for joining us here today
Great. Thank you
in
very
Boston.
much.
We really enjoyed hearing your stories and hearing about how you are using PTC's ThingWorx and Microsoft Azure's IoT to help you on your journey. So really appreciate you being here today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'd also like to thank Sam and Joe. Thank you for joining us. And I'd also like to thank you, the audience, for listening to our webcast today. Well, it is 5 o'clock somewhere, so cheers.
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 Salute.
Salute.